Still gonna have.
Okay, so we're gonna read this poem called Casey at the Bat. It's a narrative poem, so it basically tells the class, it tells the readers a story. So it has like characters, setting, and plot, and all those elements you guys have been working on. So we're gonna read this poem today, listen to the audiobook, we're going to watch a funny video about it, and it'll be super fun. Okay, so when you guys look at this picture on 135, what do you guys see? Okay, so when you look at him, what does he send off? What do you see? How he's acting? Proud. Courageous, stuck up. No, that's a good one. That's for sure. Okay, so keep that in mind when we read this poem, because those characteristics will come into play for sure.
Casey at the Bat, Ernest Lawrence Thayer.
Are you a sports fan? Do you have a favorite player? In the classic narrative poem, Casey at the Bat, by Ernest Lawrence Thayer, you'll hear about the last inning of an exciting baseball game. Read along to find out how this game turns out.
It looked extremely rocky for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 2-4, with but an inning left to play. So when Cooney died at second, and Burroughs did the same, a pallor wreathed the features of the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go, leaving there the rest, with that hope which springs eternal within the human breast. For they thought, if only Casey could get a whack at that, they'd put even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, and likewise so did Blake, and the former was a puddin', and the latter was a fake. So on that stricken multitude a death-like silence sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat. But Flynn let drive a single, to the wonderment of all, and the much-despised Blakey tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted, and they saw what had occurred, there was Blakey safe at second, and Flynn a huggin' third. Then from the gladdened multitude went up a joyous yell. It rumbled in the mountaintops, it rattled in the dell, it struck upon the hillside and rebounded on the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat.
Okay, so before you turn your page real quick, the last line on page 134, line 20 says, for Casey, mighty Casey was advancing to the bat. Why do you think his name is repeated?
To make sure, I don't know, for Casey, to show, something that does emphasize how important.
Exactly, to emphasize his importance in this. So everyone in this town of Mudville really liked Casey, right? He's brave and confident and courageous. So this line shows exactly that. Okay? So go ahead and turn the page.
There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then when the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance glanced in Casey's eye. A sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered spear came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman the ball unheeded sped. That ain't my style, said Casey. Strike one, the umpire said. From the benches filled with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on the stern and distant shore. Kill him! Kill the umpire! shouted someone on the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of honest charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He made the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two."
Because we're gonna pause real quick. What do you guys think is gonna happen with Casey at the bat?
He's gonna hit it.
He's gonna hit the third one.
He's not gonna hit it at all.
No, he's gonna hit it.
He won't
He's
hit
gonna
it
straight
at
it
all.
out, and then he's gonna hit.
I think he's just gonna stop listening to the umpire, and when he says strike three, he's just gonna give him.
Okay, let's see.
"Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and the echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. And they knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel vengeance his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball. And now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere. And somewhere, hearts are light. And somewhere, men are laughing. And somewhere, children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
What do you think about that? Who plays baseball, softball here?
The main character struck out.
So you guys all know it's not fun to strike out, right?
Oh,
That was terrible.
I always strike out.
How do you think it feels for someone who acts like Casey? That'd be embarrassing. Okay, so now we're gonna do this worksheet together. So make sure your name's on it, and if you want to put the date, it's the 21st. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, this was a narrative poem, so it had the elements of a story. It has the setting characters and the main plot events, just like you guys been working on. So now it says in the direction, so it says some narrative poems may include a conflict, and some use suspense to keep the readers interested. So did you guys see suspense in that? How?
When he was on his waiting for his pitch.
Wait for the pitch, yeah?
When he was after the second time he missed the ball, they put in how he had his teeth clenched,
Yep.
banging all, giving us suspense, and then sending
So
that.
there's a lot of details leading up to the bat. What were you gonna say?
When he said strike one, strike three.
Yeah. Yeah, so it talked a lot about his at bat, right? It had a little bit about the other characters at bat, but mostly his. Okay, so
What was it on purpose?
on purpose. Yeah. It definitely got the crowd involved. Okay, so for the setting, where did this story take place? Mudville, on a baseball field? Okay, perfect. Let's go and put that in there. Okay, what do we know about the characters? Who are the characters? Casey. Okay, what are some words we can use to describe Casey?
Stuck up, like
Stuck up, okay. What else do you see in that picture? Confidence, okay. Anything else you want to write down? Good? What are some other characters that we see? The umpire. Okay. Pitcher. The crowd. Good. What else? Who are some other characters? Flynn. Okay. Yeah. Blake. Okay. Where do Flynn and Blake come into place? Where are they at? On the bases. Which one was Blake at? Remember?
And then Finn is at third.
Any other characters that you saw? No? There were some other names mentioned in the first stanza. You guys want to go back to that? Cooney. Cooney and Burrow. Yeah. So why are they important to this?
Because they got out.
They were the two outs, yep, before Casey and Flynn and Blakey went up to bat, yep. Any other characters you guys think we should mention? I think you got them all. Okay, so let's talk about the main plot events. So what's the very first thing we learned in this? Yeah. What else? In the first stanza, what do we learn?
That they had a score of 2-4.
Yep, were they winning or losing? Yep, just don't put that in the box.
There was one inning left.
There's what?
1 inning left.
1 inning left, yep. What do we learn next?
Cooney and Burrows died at second, and Burrows did the same.
Yep, they got out. Yep. Huh? What do we know about the characters before Casey went up to bat? Yep.
Blakey tore the cover off the ball.
Yep. So Blakey hit, and then who else hit? Flynn, yep. And they got on base. Okay, then what happens? Casey goes up to bat. What happens with his at bat? Yep. We got 1 strike. What did he say, or what happened with the first pitch?
He said that's like, it's not mine.
It's not my style, right? Okay, so what about the second one?
He said he ignored it.
Ignored it, yeah. And then what about the last one? What about the last pitch? He struck out. Did he swing or did he not swing? He swung. On line, let's see. Line 48, it says, and now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. So that's him swinging and everything, the blow around him from the back. But he struck out. else at the end? Other than him striking out? Anything with the city?
There was no joy, but
There's no joy. That's a good thing to put on there. Good with that so far? Okay, so then, on the last bottom questions, you guys are gonna answer these by yourself. First question says, did you include the crowd in the list of characters? Why or why not? Or why do you think it's important to have the crowd in this list? And then number 2, how does the author build suspense in the poem? So go ahead and answer these, and when you're done, just flip your paper over so I know you guys are done, and close your textbook. And we'll watch the video. You guys like that video?
Yeah. It was weird.
Definitely weird. Did it help the poem come to life?
Yeah.
Kind of seeing it helped you out a little bit. Okay, so now there's one more
I
thing.
didn't picture him being that bad though.
I didn't either. Okay, so on the back of your worksheet, I wrote this question right here. It says, how would the poem be different if Casey and his team would have won the game? So go ahead and answer that on the back. And when you're done, turn it into the box up here. And if you haven't put your textbook away, you can put it away now.